Welcome to the deep dive. Let's get straight to it. You're learning English, you find all these new words, but they just don't seem to stick. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, definitely. It's such a common thing for language learners. You put the work in, but then poof, the word's gone when you need it.
Exactly. So today we're digging into how you can finally stop that frustrating feeling, that sense of vocabulary just vanishing.
We want to help you make it stick.
And our source for this deep dive is a really great discussion from the English Leap podcast. It was their episode called How to Remember Words Easily.
Right. Featured two English teachers, Aaron and Evan, just talking through some really practical, real-world ways to remember vocabulary.
So our mission today is pretty simple. Pull out the best, most actionable strategies from what they talked about. Give you a kind of shortcut to building your English vocabulary.
Yeah, less frustration, more words that actually stay with you, making them truly yours.
Okay, so Aaron and Evan started off by looking at why it's actually so hard to remember new words. They use this great analogy of a leaky bucket.
I like that one. It's like you pour new words into your memory, the bucket, but if you don't do anything to patch the leaks.
It just drains right out. Yeah. They also mentioned the forgetting curve. Apparently, we can forget something like 80% of new info within just 24 hours if we don't reinforce it.
80%. That's... Or it really shows why just reading a word on a list once just isn't going to cut it.
Not at all. It really drives home that you need active strategies.
Exactly. You need ways to plug those leaks. And Aaron and Evan had some really good ideas. Their first main strategy was about making words personal.
This makes so much sense, doesn't it? Like, our brains just naturally hold on to things that mean something to us, things with some kind of emotional tag.
Right. It's not just the definition. It's about connecting the word to your life, your world.
They give some good examples. Aaron talked about the word exquisite and how it really stuck for him because he linked it to this specific cafe he loved with these amazing pastries and just a really nice feeling.
So it wasn't just beautiful. It was tied to a whole sensory thing.
Yeah.
The taste, the atmosphere, that little emotional hook makes a huge difference for memory.
Yeah, Evan had one for nostalgia. For him, it instantly connected to these really clear memories of summer at his grandma's place.
Riding bikes, ice cream.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Right. So the word isn't abstract anymore. It's grounded in this personal, rich memory.
And that's the key, isn't it? Vocabulary learning isn't just this dry academic thing. If you consciously look for those personal links, you give the word a solid place to live in your brain.
Like an address you can actually find again.
Exactly.
So the takeaway for you listening is, when you learn a new word, stop and think, okay, how does this connect to my life? Is there a story, a memory, even just a feeling you can attach to it?
Give it that personal anchor. Then their second strategy was about visuals, creating visual associations.
Using the power of pictures. Our brains are just really good at remembering images.
Yeah, it's like dual coding. You get the word and a picture in your mind. That gives you two ways to recall it later, makes the memory much stronger.
They had some fun examples for this, too. Evan mentioned serendipity, that happy accident. He pictured finding a $2 bill just lying in the park, kind of unexpected, positive. It makes the word stick.
Totally. And for lavish, meaning like really luxurious and abundant,
Yeah.
they imagined this huge banquet table just overflowing with gold stuff, fruit, candles. You get this instant picture of extravagance. Much better than just the definition, rich and luxurious.
Definitely more memorable. And meticulous, meaning super careful and precise.
For that one, the image was a jeweler, like really focused, setting tiny diamonds into a ring.
Oh, I like that. It captures that focused, detailed meaning perfectly. And they said the more vivid or even kind of weird the image is,
The better it sticks. Yeah, that little bit of surprise or humor can make a mental image really stand out.
a weird mental cartoon is better than a boring one.
Pretty much. So your task here is to fire up your imagination. New word. Create a mini-movie, a snapshot in your head.
Don't be afraid to be creative. Okay, strategy number 3. This one feels basic, but it's crucial. Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, sounds obvious, maybe, but you really need that repetition. Think about the leaky bucket again. Practice is like constantly adding more water so it doesn't empty out.
Right. Aaron mentioned he always remembers words better if he actually uses them in conversation soon after learning them.
That makes sense. The act of actually producing the word, saying it out loud in context, seems to really cement it.
And Evan had a specific plan for peculiar, meaning strange or odd.
What did he do?
He made a point of using it 3 times in 1 week. Once talking to someone, once when writing in his journal, and once in a group chat online.
Ah, okay. So using it in different ways, different contexts. That's smart.
Yeah. So the takeaway is don't just learn the word, use the word. Actively look for chances. Say it, write it, text it.
Even just saying it out loud to yourself helps. The more you engage with it actively, the stronger those brain pathways get. Makes it easier to pull up later.
Okay, strategy 4 gets a bit more technical.
Huh.
Active recall and spaced repetition. They called this doing memory push-ups.
Huh. Good analogy.
Hmm.
Active recall is basically testing yourself. So instead of just rereading the word list.
You close the book, right, and force yourself to remember the word and its meaning.
Exactly. And that struggle, that effort you make to retrieve it, that's what actually strengthens the memory. It's not passive reviewing.
You're making your brain work for it. And then spaced repetition is about when you do that recalling.
Right. It's about timing your reviews. Instead of cramming, you review at increasing intervals. Maybe today, then in a couple of days, then a week later.
You catch it just before you forget it again.
Precisely. That helps move it from short-term to long-term memory much more effectively. It interrupts the forgetting curve.
They mentioned apps too, like Anki or Quizlet.
Yeah, those are great tools because they can automate the spacing for you. Takes the guesswork out of it.
So the advice is test yourself. Don't just reread. And schedule those tests, those reviews, further and further apart.
Combine that effortful recall with smart timing, and you're giving those words a much better chance of sticking around for good.
Strategy 5 really clicked with me. Learning words in context. It's like seeing the whole puzzle, not just one piece.
Absolutely. Trying to memorize words from a list, totally isolated.
It's hard because you don't see how they work.
Right.
Seeing them in sentences, in stories, shows you their natural habitat. It makes the meaning clearer and, honestly, more memorable. Like having the recipe, not just the ingredients list.
They used frigid as an example. Just knowing it means very cold is one thing.
Yeah.
But hearing it like, the wind was so frigid it felt like tiny needles on my skin.
Yeah.
That gives you a real feel for the intensity of the word.
That's a great example. It makes it sensory. And for peculiar, remember that one?
Strange or odd. The sentence, he has a peculiar habit of always wearing mismatched socks, not only shows the meaning, but it's kind of memorable, maybe a little funny.
Context gives you clues about, like, the feeling of the word, not just its dictionary meaning.
Exactly. And context often naturally brings in those personal connections or relatable situations, making words like nostalgic or sophisticated easier to understand and remember.
So the action here is always try to learn words as part of a sentence or a bigger piece of text. Notice how people use them when you're reading or watching stuff in English.
Yeah, pay attention to their natural environment. You're not just memorizing, you're building an intuition for how the language works. Much more useful.
Okay, last one, strategy 6, teaching. This was kind of surprising, the idea that explaining a word to someone else helps you remember it better.
It sounds counterintuitive maybe, but it forces you to process the word really deeply. You can't just parrot a definition.
You have to understand it well enough to put it in your own words.
Exactly, and figure out how to make it clear to someone else. That whole process, thinking it through, articulating it, really cements it in your own mind.
Evan talked about explaining flustered to his cousin.
What was the explanation?
He described that feeling, you know, when you're running late and you can't find your keys or your phone, that panicked, confused feeling.
Ah, okay. Putting it into a relatable scenario. That makes sense. It helps the cousin, sure, but it reinforces it for Evan, too.
Totally. And the other example was explaining charming
How do they explain that?
by relating it to maybe a person who's just naturally pleasant, makes you smile, or like a cozy little cafe that feels really welcoming.
So you're making those personal connections again, but you're actually saying them out loud, sharing them.
Yeah. So the takeaway, even if it feels a bit weird at first, is try explaining new words to anyone, a friend, family member.
Even your dog. The act of verbalizing it in your own way, finding examples, that really locks it in.
Okay, so let's just quickly run through those 6 strategies again. We had make words personal,
Create visual associations,
practice using them,
active recall and spaced repetition,
learn them in context.
and try teaching them to someone else.
Using these can really make a difference in getting vocabulary to stick.
Definitely. And you know, the podcast episode we used as our source, the one with Aaron and Evan, it was full of great vocabulary itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, their colleague Charlotte actually pulled out 10 words they used in that conversation about remembering words. We should probably touch on those.
Good idea. Like a bonus vocabulary lesson built right in. What was the first one?
First was exquisite, meaning beautifully made, elegant, finely detailed. The example was, the restaurant had an exquisite menu filled with gourmet dishes.
Nice. Okay, what's next?
Frigid, Extremely cold. Example. The weather was so frigid that we had to stay indoors all day.
Got it. Like that wind feeling like needles?
Exactly.
Ugh.
Then serendipity. That lovely idea of happy accident or pleasant surprise.
Like finding the $2 bill.
Right. The example sentence was, it was pure serendipity that I ran into an old friend at the airport.
Okay, number 4.
Meticulous. Super careful, precise, great attention to detail. Example. She's meticulous about organizing her workspace.
Like the jeweler setting the diamonds.
Uh-huh. Then we had peculiar. Strange or unusual.
The mismatched socks.
That's the one. Example. He has a peculiar habit of eating pizza with a fork.
Okay, halfway there.
Next. Lavish.
What?
Meaning rich, luxurious, extravagant.
Mm-hmm.
Example. The party was a lavish affair with golden decorations and gourmet food. Like that overflowing banquet table image.
Right, very vivid.
Then nostalgic. That sentimental feeling or longing for the past. Example. Looking at my old school photos always makes me nostalgic.
A common feeling. What else?
Sophisticated. This describes someone or something elegant, refined, maybe well-educated or showing good taste. Example. Her outfit was so sophisticated it looked like something out of a fashion magazine.
Classy. 2 more.
Flustered. Agitated, confused. Usually when you're rushed or stressed. Example. I always get flustered when I can't find my phone while running late.
We've all been there. And the last one.
Charming. Just pleasant and attractive, making you feel good. Example. The little bookstore was so charming, I didn't want to leave.
Like that cozy cafe feeling.
Exactly. So you see, even listening to people talk about learning words can teach you new words.
That's a great point. And really, the big message from all this isn't necessarily to use all 6 strategies for every word.
No, definitely not.
It's more about being consistent. Applying maybe 1 or 2 of these techniques regularly, really making each word stick like glue, is probably much better than trying to learn 50 words superficially all at once.
Absolutely. Quality over quantity when it comes to making vocabulary truly yours.
So maybe here's something for you to think about. Pick 1 English word. Just one that you learned recently, but maybe it hasn't quite stuck yet.
Okay.
Now, actively try just one of these strategies. Could you make a quick mental image for it, even a silly one?
Or maybe think, okay, what personal story or feeling does this word connect to for me?
Exactly. Just try that one small thing and see if it makes that word feel a bit more, well, memorable. See if it makes a difference.